Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator Maxine McLean is predicting the Latin American Development Bank, or CAF, will play an integral role in fostering development in the Caribbean. She made the comments in the Upper House as she led off debate on the Loans Latin American Development Bank Bill 2015. Senator McLean says with Barbados being graduated from concessionary financing from several multilateral institutions, is vital for alternative financing like that available in CAF. But Senator McLean says climate change is a great threat to Barbados, requiring good water management. She added that so far this year, Barbados has only received around 60% of the water it normally gets in any year.
It translates into our being able to source funds to address the issue of water management. Whether it is the whole question of water capture and storage, whether it is doing what we are currently doing now, the issue of replacement of 100-year-old mains, whether it is about educating and identifying mechanisms for water efficiency at the level of industrial and domestic users of water.
Senator McLean also says Barbadians must play their part and help the island to be more productive as it seeks to improve capacity building by embarking on several infrastructural projects.
At the end of the day, Madam President, the government has its role to play in making available resources for developmental projects, whether it is for infrastructure, road construction, whether it is for the building out of social services to ensure that our working population can be productive, whether it is for the financing of capital expenditures on facilities such as our medical institution, our health institutions, our schools, etc. All of these things have to be financed.
Meanwhile, opposition Senator Jerome Walcott supported the bill, saying it provides a legislative framework to allow Barbados to access funding from CAF.
We've had the recurrent and recent downgrades, where we are now finding ourselves at with loss of investment grade. And as the Honourable Minister said, it has become difficult for Barbados to access and to attract concessionary loans funding for the development of Barbados. Certainly, CAF is a welcome and a savior for Barbados. We as all Barbadians should support it. And I have no doubt that this is the beginning of a very good and useful partnership which will be down to the benefit of all Barbadians.
An independent senator has called on government to create the environment to enable all Barbadians to harvest their own water using tanks. Senator Sir Henry Fraser says to achieve this goal, Barbadians who buy such tanks should be allowed to claim for them on their income tax returns.
Why don't we do as we did to promote solar heating? Why don't we make the water tank and the pump in particular, make the pump tax deductible? And then you would find every Barbadian harvesting their rainwater from their roof via their gutters into a tank and pumping it out. And we would not have the social chaos that we have today because of the water crisis, because Barbados is a water shortage country, way down below the level that defines severe water shortage. So these are just some of the things that a little investment would help us from this magnificent resolution.
The local agriculture sector is gearing up to host a major meeting next month. It's the Caribbean Pacific Agri-Food Forum, which runs from November 2nd to 6th. Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, says it will be the first time farmers' organizations will be organizing such an event and will be the main beneficiaries as well.
Also, I think in terms of hosting this conference and ensuring that we are part of the learning experience in a very real way, I think we have a big opportunity there. And also it will enhance our capacity to also foresee schedule events in the future, because that is extremely important for us, that we understand really that we are actually capacity building at this stage.
Meantime, Dr. Cleve Scott revealed there will be about 70 participants from the Pacific Islands in Barbados next month for the forum. He says a major part of the week's activities will center on training.
The week would begin with 4 days of training at the UWI Cable campus. Following the official opening ceremony, they would be training in a number of areas related to agriculture and agricultural organizations. So they will be, for example, training in policy. As you know, the BAS has a very long history in advocating on behalf of farmers, not only in Barbados but across the region, in particularly at the quoted, at the CARICOM level.
Well, family and friends of missing woman Marcel Smith believe a crime has been committed against the elderly woman, but are still hoping to find her alive. Daughter Tanya and son Roger Smith spoke to members of the media late this evening about the ongoing search. Ms. Smith, in a prepared statement, praised the public and the Royal Barbados Police Force for their help so far in trying to find her 75-year-old mother, but didn't reveal what police have told them about the investigation. The missing woman's vehicle was discovered on Sunday at Culloden Road, but there's been no word yet on her whereabouts.
Our mother, Marcel Smith, wife for 55 years of retired Lodge School headmaster Ori Smith, and sister-in-law of Sir Frederick Smith, is still missing. She is a strong, formidable woman. Our father is unwell and he is fully dependent on her. She has been missing since last Monday night. We have an accurate timeline and evidence of the crime that has unfolded. We are holding out hope that she is still alive, but being held against her will in places unknown. If anyone has any information, please contact the police or Crime Stoppers.
More news ahead, but first we want to get your take on this question. Should there be incentives for using water storage and saving devices just like solar technology? Text yes or no to short code 8111. We'll have the results for you at the end of the news.
Luxury is now available and covered in chocolate. Introducing new Choc Ice from Byko, the luxury ice cream treat with real rich chocolate coating. Choc Ice is available island-wide from retail outlets, Byko Mobilers, and the Byko Direct outlet. So indulge in luxury today with Choc Ice from Byko.
Here comes a very special time of the year. You're dreaming of the colors that will be everywhere. Harris is your first choice. Color your Christmas.
Make Harris Paints your first choice this Christmas for a whole lot less. There's 20% off Perma, 25% off kitchen and bathroom, and 30% off all Ultimate Plus paints, plus the ever-durable Trouble Tax Natural for just $98. So dream in color this Christmas with Harris Paints, the Caribbean champions of color.
Harris is your first choice. Color your Christmas. Pop, pop.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day. Oh, Fruta. Good morning.
On the Thursday edition of Morning Barbados, we continue our focus on education. Joy Adamson will join us, and we will tell you about some of the works of the Ministry of Education. And there's also time to focus on financial matters with Melinda Bell.
We'll tell you about a new initiative of the Toastmasters, and we'll also meet our dear friends from the great parish of St. George, the ambassadors and their attendant, as they work towards the spirit of the nation. Tomorrow on Morning Barbados.
A special body dedicated solely to research and education has been launched. It's the Education Research Consortium, headed by Professor Andrew Downs, who is also Pro-Vice Chancellor of Planning and Development at the University of the West Indies. Speaking at the launch, Professor Downs says while there has been research on some aspects of the education sector, it has not been systematic enough. He says the aim with the consortium is to build a strong foundation for the future of the sector.
There are several issues affecting the education sector in Barbados which require rigorous research.
Such research findings would support policy and programming and also planning and decision-making in the Barbados, and what is now becoming known as evidence-based decision-making. Such research can be descriptive, that is, what is happening. You just want to know what is happening, which is a basic description. It can be process-type research, why or how it's happening, or more specifically, causal, because we want to understand what are the underlying factors causing that particular phenomenon or what is happening.
Meantime, Education Minister Ronald Jones says the consortium should not only benefit the policy makers, but its findings should be useful to teachers as well.
And one of the key purposes of carrying out research and education should be directed towards school improvement in general, and in particular towards facilitating effective classroom practice. I expect that the agenda of the consortium will eventually include models of effective classroom teacher behavior.
Well, there's more news from the Education Minister. He says officials will be meeting with all stakeholders before the new cell phone policy for schools becomes a reality. He says responsible use of technology is something which children must be taught. Minister Jones was speaking in Parliament yesterday during a resolution to acquire a parcel of land at Durance Village, St. James, for the construction of a nursery school.
You're not going to be 100% successful. Nobody says that if you bring to school a smartphone, that one or two persons might not use it, because that's the nature of human beings. But by and large, even now, we know that nearly every child in this country carries a cell phone. But because you said you don't display, you don't bring it out, you don't show it up, teachers have to be responsive as well. In front of the class, you shouldn't be taking away your phone and using it if that is done. If that is done. Because it's standards and children watch. Children do certain things.
Opposition Member of Parliament for St. James North, Edmund Hinkson, says too many children are leaving school without adequate certification. He says this is a serious cause for concern and education officials must look to urgently correct it.
Those capacity in this country. We must have an educational system, in fact, a total system of policy whereby no one is left behind. Many people must be involved in terms of our national development, especially at this time of development of our country, moving into 50 years of independence.
Returning fifth form students at the Ellerslie Secondary School have been told that in life people make mistakes, but how they recover from them is important. The words of advice from Principal and Pro-Vice Chancellor of the UWI Open Campus, Dr. Luz Longsworth. She was the featured speaker at an event for returning fifth formers at the school. Dr. Longsworth says anyone who makes a mistake is someone who is trying but is falling short. She says mistakes can be corrected.
When you make a mistake, you have to try and correct it. How do you correct it? You correct it by burying it under positive things, positive actions. So the major thing is remembering, first of all, it is a mistake. It is a mistake that you are not ever going to be able to clean off. It's a mistake. But how do you recover from it? You bury it. You bury it with positive actions. Actions that will eventually lead to people saying, well, this person has changed or this person has tried to improve themselves.
A leading education official wants youth unemployment to be treated as a matter of urgency. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Senator Harry Husbands, is also telling Barbados that playing the blame game will not help resolve the challenges. He says young people are finding it harder to secure a job today compared to the days of his generation. He says there are several benefits in continuous training, learning, and education.
During the summer vacation, how many of you volunteer with one of the community organizations to answer the telephone, to run errands? You don't have to do it the entire summer vacation. 3 weeks out of your vacation, And you know what? That goes on your CV.
Senator Husbands was addressing the Edunation Forum presented by the Ministry of Education. The topic, Education and Economic Opportunities in Barbados, CARICOM, Barbados on the eve of its 50th anniversary. Senator Husbands says the Caribbean vocational qualifications will benefit students and are regional in scope. He also wants young people to look towards the region for employment opportunities. And Barbados' ambassador to CARICOM, Robert Bobby Morris, says CARICOM's strategic plan is being developed for the people of the region.